Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Shabbat shalom. June 6, 2017, 2020. Double vision, double vision, double vision. This is a special right here. This is about intermarriage. Because a lot of Israelites are telling a lot of Israelites that they must divorce their wife of whatever nation they're from, because they feel as if that there's some type of provision in the law for this, okay, that this is what you must do. Taking certain things out of context, okay, like certain times out of context, because in that age, and the age I'm talking about is the age in the time when we were still a small tribe and a small community, Ezra, and then in the time of Ezra and in the time of First Babylon, when you could make a distinction between peoples, lands, nations, and tribes, when you could take a demarcation between lands, peoples, and tribes. Okay, this is before Israel was scattered to the four corners of the earth. Okay. Being that said, this is why the Messiah is so critical. This is why you must follow the Messiah. The Messiah says, unless your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees and the scribes, you will in no way enter into the kingdom of heaven. Because the Pharisees and the Sadducees had this same type of mentality. When the Most High said you should have one law for the native born and the stranger. Because there are going to be strangers coming into the house of Israel and cleaving unto Jacob. This is why the Most High scattered the children of Israel, because they did not want to do what was right. They had arrogance, uptold arrogance that could not be put down. So he scattered them to the four corners of the earth because they had arrogance. They would not follow the wise men, and they would not follow the wise words of the Most High when they told them what to do. Even in the time when the law pertains to the 7 nations that the Most High told them not to intermingle and intermarriage with, they didn't follow. They didn't follow the law. So now we come 2,700 years later, right after the Messiah, okay, and you still trying to apply certain aspects to this law. When the Messiah said he came to give liberty to the captives and set those who are bondage free. Why? Because there's a provision in the law for the law of liberty. What is that provision pertaining to marriage? You should have one law for the stranger or the foreigner, right, amongst you, and for the native born. Because what the Most High requires from you is for you to keep the 10 Commandments and the 2 great laws. Because if that stranger comes amongst you, right, and they are keeping the great laws, are you supposed to treat them differently? Many are called, but few are chosen. Many are called, but few are chosen. The gateway and the narrow ways are small for people to get in. Because they come into doctrine like this with arrogance, not understanding the times and the nature that we're living in now. We are in a different age. The earth is going back to Adam, when Adam had full range and provision. This is what we're going back to. Where there was no division. Where the Most High didn't have to set an example for the different nations and the people. That's what we're going back into. Where there was one law, a just weight and a just measure. That's what we're going back into. So now you got Israelites scattered 4 corners across the earth. You got Israel, and this is a lot. This is a message for you Israelites who've never been out of the States, who ain't even set foot off America. So you have no idea what other nations and peoples and tribes have been intermingled, into marriage, into war, into this, into that. The bloods have been mixed. The Most High said he scattered them 4 corners. 4 corners. He don't give a damn about your woman that you married. He cares about whether or not you keeping his commandments. And if she keeping her commandments. Equally yoked. You understand? Because you could be with an Israelite woman, right? And she off doing some old wickedness. Worshipping statues and idols and ancestors and doing all kind of nonsense. And you think that the Most High cherished that marriage? You gotta be crazy. Thinking with your small brain, man. But I digress. So, marriage, right? Marriage is a beautiful thing because there's no law on love. Marriage is a beautiful thing between a man and a woman following God's commands, right? But they must be equally yoked, both spiritually, morally, and sometimes physically, which makes for a better thing. But, you know, those things are those are superficial things when it comes physically. Meaning at the same height, same age range, and stuff like that. Those things are petty. You know, those things are not really a heavy weight. What's a heavy weight? It's her moral and her culture. Her moral, her culture. His or her moral and culture. Those are the two heavy things. This is the reason why the Most High said for the Israelites not to marry these other 7 nations. Because their culture was askewed. Because they had not known the Most High intimately, nor his laws. Now we come 2,000 years later. Every nation on this earth has the Most High laws, whether you like it or not. Every nation on this earth has the Most High laws. Every nation. Now, has every person received the Most High's laws and heard his words? No. But that's why the Most High says, though, even those who have not heard his voice will hear his voice. Meaning, they haven't heard his walk and his attitude and his way. But they have God's law within their vicinity. They haven't been exposed to that. You got Israelites up in Russia, down in Australia, out in the Baltic Sea, who have not encountered the Most High and his law, statutes, and commandments on that personal level. But the nations have the laws of God. They have it. Every nation has been approached by a prophet, and they have received the scriptures. That's why it's going to be 3 times out of the year, every nation is going to be commanded to come up. And it's not going to be it's not going to be the nation itself. It's going to be individuals who may be leading that nation who will cause the whole nation to have a chastisement of no water and no fertility. Because they have in their mindset that they don't want to serve the King Yahshua HaMashiach. They don't want to go up to Jerusalem and hear the law so that they could come and affect the law there. So when they see that the leaders in their nation is not doing what's right from the house of justice, from Israel, the people have a choice to leave that nation and come under the fold of Israel. You understand that? That's the liberty. A man has a right to change his tribe, his name, his people. He has the right to do that. A woman has the right to change his tribe, name, and people. They don't have to stay under their father's flag and vineyard. They don't have to do that. You should want to be under your flag and vineyard. But if your flag and your vineyard or your soil or your nation is not doing what's right, why would you want to receive the wrath of them that's coming upon them? Why would you want to do that? Let me get back to it. So a lot of Israelites bring out, what's the scripture? Let me get and this is for the brothers that I've been having dialogue, so I'm making this whole video just for you. You bring out Tobit chapter 4, verse 12 and 13. Let's read that. Let's read that. And you know why I love the Apocrypha? Because it hits the Israelites hard if you actually read and study this, right? Because don't you know in 2nd Ezra the Most High says what? I will go to other nations and I will give them my name and my statutes. I will give them my name and my statutes. That's when the Messiah came. The other nations receive his statutes and his laws. So you have pockets, right? You have pockets of people who are striving to follow God's commandments throughout the four corners of this world. God is calling different people. You understand? He calling different people, drawing them in to him. You think it's going to be, you think that the kingdom of heaven is going to be some type of only Israelite kingdom. No. You're going to be mistaken. You're going to be mistaken, because God does not change. God does not change. That's why I keep saying don't add to his law or take away from his law. You should have one law for a foreigner and the native born. And the stranger, you should have one law. That means if they come under your fold, they come into the house of Israel, they should have the same protections. You understand? Then a lot of you take this out of context. Do you even know the reason why that the Most High gave the law that you shouldn't marry outside of your tribe and your nation? It was an inheritance law. You understand that? That's what it was for inheritance. So that the land doesn't become owned by someone else. But God removed that when he kicked our ancestors out. And he took back the reins. He kicked them out. You have no more inheritance in the land. Don't you know that? That's why we're waiting for the Messiah to come back. The Messiah is the king. He's going to inherit all things. And he's going to set all things in order. Not you little peons out here running around talking about don't do this, don't do that. You think the Messiah going to withhold God's blessing from another nation? You got to be crazy. Yes, you should prefer those who are in your nation first, but in the kingdom of heaven, it's not going to be like that. You're going to have every tribe, every nation, every people under the sun in the kingdom of heaven. And what they're going to be doing? Following God's law. And last time I checked, there is no law on love. Oh, you don't believe me? Let me give you a checkmate for that Tobit 4 and 12. Let me give you a checkmate for that Tobit 4 and 12 so you can read it for yourself. You can go and read, what is that? Is that Isaiah? Exactly. Isaiah 14 and 1. For YAH will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. So you think these strangers that's coming amongst us, they're going to be treated differently? You think that these strangers that come... See, you have your concept here in Babylon and America where you have a distinction of races. You think that the Most High deals with people and nations like that. No, he don't deal like that. Only thing the Most High cares about is your character, your integrity, and whether or not you're keeping the damn commandments. The 10 Commandments is universal. It's for everybody. That's why I always give y'all this thought pattern. So if I met a brother out in Russia, right? You're like, yo, I'm a child of Israel. I met him out in Korea. He married to his beautiful Korean or, Chinese or Australia or Swedish or Filipino. Let's go Filipino, because a lot of our Israelite brothers is down in the Philippines. He got a whole family. Now is he supposed to divorce his wife? Huh? For what? Now he's supposed to divorce his wife? What benefit is that going to be? Huh? So now his kids and his wife, they out of their husband and father. Now you cause him to commit adultery. Stop it. Stop it. The reason why the law was in there for you not to do that is so that the land would not end up in someone else's possession. But you don't even possess the land. Hell, you don't even possess anything in the other four corners of the earth. So get out of here with that nonsense. You don't possess none of that. You don't have no inheritance. Notice I took that away from you. The only way you're going to get it back is you come in and you acknowledge the king and you acknowledge what the Messiah says. So let's go back to this Tobit. Let's go back to this Tobit. Tobit, that's Tobit 4, 12 and 13. And it says, beware, my child, of all whoredom. What? What? The first thing he says is beware of all whoredom? So to tell an Israelite who is from the Philippines or from Africa or from Jamaica or whatever, or from wherever place he at, to tell him to divorce his wife, now you make him commit whoredom? Adultery? And take first a wife of the seed of your fathers. Hold up. Take first a wife of the seed of your fathers. This would be, right, if you knew who your seeds of your father was. Now here in America, we have a thing where you think that you know who the seed of your fathers are. Because because of your skin color. If you seen my father and you seen my grandmother, my father's from down in Brazil. Wait a minute. Two different histories. Spain is from Spain down through Anthothiyah. Turkish blood from Turkey to Spain, down to Jamaica, down to Jamaica, Brazil, Spain. Don't you know that history? Intermarriage, wars, marriage. So where is this distinction anymore? Where is this distinction anymore? There is no distinction anymore. That's why the Most High scattered the Israel to the four corners of the earth, to let you know that he has no respect of persons. Only thing he care about is whether you keeping them damn commandments. Excuse my French. No, I don't even excuse my French. I'm just tired of these Israelites thinking that they wiser than the Most High and they're a better judge than the Most High. You judging off of skin color and you judging off of someone who they lay with and they rib. Don't you know you got Israelites, women out here doing the most wickedest stuff out here? Huh? Why would a man want to choose that? When you could meet and the reason why I'm saying Korean woman, because a lot of them are coming into the fold with the law of God. And this is for those who are spiritually in tune, who know what's going on with North Korea and South Korea, and how when we have this war, North Korea will begin to accept the scriptures of the Most High, and they will really have the opportunity to hear the words and the liberty of the Messiah. A lot of them keep the commandments way better than you Israelites over here. Why would these Israelite men and women have no integrity, have no kuf, run around doing things that you shouldn't be doing, telling people they gotta get a divorce because of your skin color? Sit down somewhere with that. You don't know. Probably ain't even been out of America. You probably ain't even been out of your state before. You got brothers who have traveled this world, who have been in 3-4 corners of the world. You might have been out in the world, found a beautiful, righteous woman. She from wherever. She go to church. She keep the commandments pertaining to her way. She know how to do love. To love her neighbor as thyself. She is doing what is right in the sight of God. And you gonna judging her based off of her skin color? Get out of here with that. You Israelites need to get right. You need to repent. You need to start reading the words of the Messiah. You keep my commandments down, you do well. The commandments is universal for everybody. There's no division. There's no, oh, you do it here, you do it. No. Every nation has received the commandments of God. Every nation. When the Messiah came, that's why he rent the curtains. That's why the Romans, rather the Greeks, was able to go into the temple. For those who have read Maccabees, why? When they went into the temple, right? When they went into the temple, they felt like they was not able to enter into the fold of God. Okay? Now you may think they did wrong. They did do wrong because they transgressed, right? They transgressed the laws of Israel. But for them, right? But for them, it was as if there was a barrier there. Why didn't the Most High strike down the Greek that came in there and put a sacrifice on? I'm not saying that what he did was right. I'm just saying that why didn't he strike him down right then and there? Why didn't he strike him down right then and there? He didn't. Later on, he was struck down. Why? Because he defied the law of God by making a wrong sacrifice. Instead of him being educated, well, matter of fact, it's not even instead of him being educated, he was educated enough to know the laws. And this goes back to what the Most High said to Cain. If you do well, won't you be accepted? If you do well, won't you be accepted? Did that Cain do well? No. So down the road, he ended up getting killed. The Most High killed him on his bed. You understand? Because he did wrong. But if he would have entered the proper way, if he would have obeyed what the priest was telling him, he would have been accepted. You understand? This is the difference between arrogance, or this is the difference between wickedness and righteousness. So let's go back to this, right? For Tobit, right? Don't take a strange wife who is not of your father's tribe. Who is not of your father's tribe. We don't live in tribes anymore. We do not live in tribes anymore. We are on the grand scale of nations. The Most High is not dealing with tribes anymore. That's why he kicked Israel the hell out. He's dealing with nations. For we are the descendants of the prophets, right? Descendants of the prophets, right? Remember, my child, that Noah, hold up. Noah is a prophet? Noah is a prophet? Wait a minute. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Let's deal with Noah first. Noah is the progenitor of all three races. Wait a minute. So the wisdom here is for you to take those who are in like-minded culture for you. You understand that? In like-minded culture. But every culture is not good for you when it pertains to God. If you go over to India, right, and you deal with the Orthodox Christians in India, which would be, well, they're not called Christians, but they're called Sikhs. If you deal with them, right, they have God's commandments. Just see, you small-minded Israelites, they have God's commandments. Do you understand? For their culture. The commandments is 10. It's universal. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not have no idols. You understand that? That's universal. How is it not accepted? Oh, but they're one of the sons of Noah, right? And you got Israelites who are in that culture. Do you understand that? You got Israelites who are in that culture. Our fathers of old time all took wives of their kindred and were blessed in their children, and their seed will inherit the land. There we go again. And their seed will inherit the land. You Negroes don't own any land. Now you can't even do that anymore. You can't even do this anymore. Because God's law has already been expounded upon. Meaning that the land goes to whoever the son and the daughter is. If you bought land right now here in America, you left some land and some property, it will go to your wife or your daughter. That's what the provision was for, so that the land doesn't so that the wealth doesn't leave that generation, that family lineage. That's what it was for. And on the grand scale, back in before the Messiah, it was so that Israel's wealth can stay Israel's wealth. But you got kicked out of the land. Let me say it. Israel got kicked out of the land because they wouldn't keep God's commandments. Did you get that? So when you think you go back in this land, you think that you're going to have a separate law for the native born and the stranger? No, stop it. You're not. We got 13:2. And now, my child, love your kindred, and don't scorn your kindred, and the sons and the daughters of your people in your heart, and take a wife for them, for in scornfulness is destruction, and much trouble, and in naughtiness is decay and great lack, for naughtiness is the mother of famine. Again, talking about land inheritance. We don't live in that time anymore where you have to worry about whether or not another tribe or another nation is going to come and inherit your land. We don't live in that no more. We deal with contracts now, which was the first provision in God's law. It's contract. I don't want to get too far off in that, because if I do, then I might go you people heads. How God has laid, now man deals in equity and in contracts now. That's where we at now. In contracts. But if you read a little bit further down, right? If you read a little bit further down, no, I ain't gonna go there. That's enough on that. We deal in contracts now. So let's go to Ezra's 8. Ezra's 8, right? Right, you want to bring that out. I hope you read chapter 7. But let's go to Ezra's 8, 69 and 70. Ezra's chapter 8, 69 verse 7. A lot of y'all try to take this out of context. You say, because the Most High made the world for Israel, right, that he excluded all the other nations. Maybe you need to go back and see what the Most High did with Moses when he was asking. No, I ain't even gonna go there. I get to that another time. About the cities. I get that about the judgment of the people there when he made a dividing line at the mountain. That, don't you know that was a mixed multitude in there? People from different nations was there. You think everybody stood on the side of those who was worshiping the bull? No. They had to make a decision. They had to make a choice whether they was going to follow God's laws or not. And that's where we at now. It's about whether or not the individual is going to keep the commandments, or whether or not that nation is going to start keeping the commandments. But we already know that the nation, nationhood, when we talk about nationhood, we're talking about those who are in political power and positions, who know God's laws and commandments, who have received the instructions, the Bible, the scriptures. They receive. Every nation on this earth has received the scriptures of God. And we know that those leaders are not going to bring the nation out of darkness into the light. That's why the Messiah has to come, to bring the light. That's why it's the job of that's why the Messiah brought this nation, America, to be able to speak as a lamb, But America no longer is speaking and acting like a lamb. It's acting like a dragon now. Because we in the age of the dragon. That's for another topic. You can go and see my other videos where I talk about the dragon age that we're in right now. So, the scriptures done went throughout all nations. When the Messiah came, the age changed. He proclaimed liberty to everyone. Meaning that if you don't like how your nation is bowing down to idols and statues, you have a right to leave. Did you hear what I said? You have a right to leave your nation. As one of our forefathers had done. His parents was not following God's commandments. He left his nation. This is why our Prophet Muhammad came. Why? To bring the truth forward in time. Because you still had those, right, Christians, so-called Christians, Roman and Orthodox Christians, who was still in idol worship and who were not in idol worship. Whether it was a physical idol or was it uplifting Yeshua HaMashiach on a pedestal stood equal to the Father. You understand? That's what the great schism was about with Constantine. We living in a whole new age. We living in a whole new age. And in